Hello and welcome. Today we've got Gene Decode, and we are going to be speaking about the jabs and the S proteins and how to create a home remedy that will prevent us from being affected from the situation that's happening right now. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And also, I will be leaving the link below in the description for the full interview. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, but that's only if we do not behave ourselves, but hopefully we will choose our words wisely and I can leave the full interview on YouTube. I understand the censorship is terrible. So me and Gene will do our best to keep this very clean and very descriptive. Gene, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Suffering a bit, but okay.
Do you want to tell us how you're suffering?
If you want. It's all the vaxes everybody's carrying around, their Morgellon stuff. It has it in it, the nanodust and the fibers. If you've seen the Slovakian studies, they show in the oxygenic gel, the fibers that when the finger comes close to the slide, you can see the fibers move. The IVER and then MECTIN paste actually decimates those fibers. Without it, they show blood under the slide glass, and then they put the oxygenic and the fibers go through the blood, creating massive destruction and blood clots. But with that paste, it destroys the fibers such they don't do that. But the stuff that's in the jab, the S proteins and the M, and then the R and A stuff, and then also those fibers, which are the same thing. There's also a Cove type viral thing in there as well. And so those things, whether you get the jab or you get the test, you're just getting a smaller amount in the test, but it means everybody's shedding all that stuff. And so it's, I've had Morgellons for years, but now with so many people that I'm around people quite a bit lately, which I'm not normally, but because of that, it's making such that my Morgellons is going mad. So I'm suffering. So I'm using the protocols that I have, but I tried. Somebody had a question whether it would work. That's also part of why it's so bad is the hay bath, which the hay attracts the AI out of your body if you lay in a hot bathtub of hay, because plants use chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is magnesium based. And part of what the fibers, as well as the nanodust, which makes the spiders and the nanotech and all of that, that go from third density to fourth density for feeding off your neural energy, which causes you to see all kinds of weird patterns, which is really irritating too. I've been seeing literally the programming of the matrix we're in. So I was like vision down to about 20%. My wife had to go to the store for me because I couldn't even drive to get the hay. But before that, I had used alfalfa powder, and that was disastrous because the powder, your pores are open in the hot water. The powder can get inside your skin, and then you're giving them fuel. It's like throwing jet fuel on a fire. You're throwing fuel into them in your body. So that was not a good idea. Just use the grass, the alfalfa, like a horse gets, works really good. And they stream out of your body because they're looking for that fuel. And then the other thing that I've been taking, which is helping a lot, is glutathione. And before I go any further, let me read this, just so people don't get crazy here. Just got to keep this where people know who I am. And, these things I do because this is the way I live my life. And it's my theory, if you will, of how to do things. But this material is solely for educational and informational purposes. Any products and or information presented is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure or prevent any disease. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA or like agencies in other countries. The reader understands and the listener also understands that I am not rendering health or medical advice or services. I provide this information, you accept it with the understanding that whatever you do so at your own risk with full knowledge, and consult with a licensed medical professional prior to doing anything regarding your health. I am neither a licensed medical professional nor a dietitian. Anything that you hear, make your own opinions, do your own research. You're solely responsible for any decision that you make regarding your own body and your own health. Like they say, your body, your responsibility. So that being said, the glutathione, what it does is it takes our blood is, unlike chlorophyll, which is magnesium based, the blood is based on iron. When it goes to an Fe3 ion, the Morgellons feeds off that energy, and the Fe3 ion is part of that iron ion is what it's built out of. That and magnesium are two primary components. So glutathione, which is composed of 3 amino acids, brings the blood from Fe3 back down to Fe2. So it's another really good way to deal with this that helps significantly to reduce, like I have inflammation and breaking out and the fibers coming out of my skin. That's why I know the hay bath works, because I got an ultraviolet light. I can turn the lights off and watch them leaving my body. Also, if you take tart cherry concentrate, swish it in your mouth for 15 minutes and then spit it in a white plastic or porcelain cup where you can see it really well. And you take an eyedropper with 3 drops of Everclear. They don't like alcohol. You can see them streaming away from that, especially with ultraviolet light. But even without ultraviolet, you can see the black streams and black dots and speckles and gray stuff. And additionally, one person actually emailed me, they saw black goo come out of their mouth. So it's another, after you do it, make sure you get some organic toothpaste, because it'll make your teeth hurt, because they're trying to come out of your enamel. They're actually in your enamel too, and it makes your teeth hurt. So wash your mouth out with some distilled water and some good organic mouthwash. So there's quite a few things I'm doing for it. One is like table salt, sodium chloride, but I use the Ike kind, which is slightly different. And I put it in a number 4 gel cap. This is what I do. You do what you want to do. I've been doing this for 30 years. It saved my life once. If you look at what they do for cancer and things like that, they're in suits, hazmat suits to handle the materials. This, you don't have to be. I just ground it up and put a quarter of it in a number 4 gel cap. I take that every half hour after I have some eggs in the morning so I can coat my stomach, because it gets a little bit acidic. And then I alternate that with the upside down W S stuff from Jim Humble's book. I do Protocol 1000. So I'm kind of doubling up on it because I'm suffering so bad. It's the only thing that makes me able to get through it. If I don't do anything, I'll be incapacitated week. I'll have migraines so bad I can't sleep. So it gets it to where I can sleep at night. And then within a week, it's usually completely gone. It goes away as long as I don't get mixed tight within people again. Like there's a Mexican show where they're trying to debunk that it doesn't make us magnetic, the jab. And they showed people, they had a guy come up on stage and just got job, and the phone, nothing stuck to him. Then the next person comes up from stage, his phone stuck to the side of his head. By the time they got done, they had a lady come after that. She had 30 spoons hanging from her back. I mean, it was ridiculous. One guy was changing the channel on the TV by aiming his hand at it. I mean, it was like, holy smoke, talk about connected to the web. My goodness. So that's another ideal thing. Another thing I do that helps a lot is liver gallbladder saltwater cleanse. Andreas Moritz put out liver cleanse, gallbladder cleanse. Your liver is what takes the toxins out of your blood, which removes the toxins out of your cells. So it does that. It doubles in size when you go to sleep, and it filters all of your blood twice during an 8-hour period. If you get any of the ducts blocked by a stone, a liver stone, then it can't take that out of the blood. So it'll back up in the blood, and that causes toxic shock. Like in allergy situation or women getting hot flashes, all that is the ducts are blocked. You can get that cleaned out by that cleanse he has in his book. And I added a bunch of herbs to it that I do that make it even more powerful. And then I also preface it by doing first a saltwater cleanse in which I drink 2 quarts of salt water. So how I do it is I get up and I have like a teapot that boils water real quick, some distilled water, pour it off into a level tablespoon of, I use Redmond salt. It's the best one I've seen out there of that and stir it up till it's dissolved. And then I wait till it's kind of lukewarm. My wife likes it cold. I can't stomach it cold, but I chug it as fast as I can go. When I feel full of weight, I do some push-ups and stuff and work around the house to get my movement in my stomach and my digestive tract. And you'll start getting movements. Normally, when you do the saltwater cleanse, the first time you get 20 to 30 movements in a day. So you want to make sure you do like most people in Europe do, is use a bidet, or you get up and go and use the shower and use soap and water. The cause of hemorrhoids, the main cause is actually quite often is toilet paper. When you wipe the thinnest mucous membrane in your body with paper and you create a micro lesion, that's the highest toxicity area in your body, the toxins get in, it gets infected, it swells up from the toxicity, burns, itches. That's a hemorrhoid. So you can actually, I had a student of mine that eliminated hemorrhoids simply by eliminating toilet paper and washing with soap and water. And also you're clean. Most people, their underwear doesn't look exactly clean because they're not cleaning really. Toilet paper, it's dry, it's not really cleaning, it's also abrasive. So especially with a saltwater cleanse having to do 20, 30 times, you're definitely would be bleeding if you wipe that much. So then, so I drink 2 quarts of water, 1 quart per level tablespoon. It usually takes me, I've been doing it 30 years, so it takes me about 3 hours. But for the first time, you want to give yourself all of a day. It's a day I fast. I don't eat that day. And then 2 hours after I finish the salt water, I get food grade Epsom salts. And I mix 4 level tablespoons and 5 glasses of distilled water. And 2 hours after finishing the regular table salt water, I take 1 glass of the Epsom salt water every 2 hours. So it would be, let's say if I finish the saltwater cleanse, the regular table saltwater cleanse at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that means at 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 10 o'clock and midnight, I would do the Epsom salt water. So you want to try to get done earlier. You're going to get a real late night, which is okay because when you want to go to bed with the liver gallbladder cleanse, you want to fall asleep quickly. And then when you go to bed, you take a pink grapefruit that's squeezed freshly and you strain out all the pulp. And then you mix 3/4 of a glass of that with 1/2 glass of extra virgin olive oil, shake it up till it's homogeneous. This is 2 hours after your 4th glass of Epsom salts. Then at bed, 2 hours after, that's when you're going to go to bed, get all your bed stuff done, have that ready, shake it up, chug it, take 2 ornithine, which will help you sleep, and lay down on your left side, go to sleep. And then, make sure you've gone to the bathroom, everything you need to do, teeth, all that done. And then sleep until you wake up. And then you take the 5th glass of Epsom salts, and you're going to have a full movement, even though you've had nothing to eat now in 24 hours. So all you're getting is stones from the liver and the gallbladder. The first time I did this, it looked like sand. Somebody had gone to the beach like Nicholas did, we can see. And he brought back a bucket of sand with him. And it looks like you threw the bucket in the toilet. You can see all these little grains of stones that were in the liver. And then on the top, I could see what looked like white chaff, which is aluminum from aluminum cans and things that we eat in aluminum cans. So that gets the aluminum out of the body. Some people actually will see little blobs of mercury in there too. So if you've gotten a jab, some of the jabs, you'll see the mercury actually floating in the bowl. So it actually gets heavy metals out of the body. It gets aluminum. It gets mercury. It's really powerful. And so I did that. First time I ever did that, I was getting what sold me on. I was getting the flu. I had an office where 12 people worked. usually by the second or third person. I caught it from somebody. And I would have it 2 weeks, aching and sneezing and coughing and burning eyes and headaches and fever and all that stuff. And then I would get over it and it would pass through everybody else in the office. And the last person would give it to me again because viruses morph. As each person captures it, their immune system makes new copies of the virus. So then you wind up getting the new one. And so I had just gotten it for the second time. I'm like, how much more terrible could I feel? I might as well try this. I feel miserable anyway. So I just did the cleanse, and it was amazing because like I said, it usually took me a week to 2 weeks to get over the flu. I was over the flu in 3 hours. I was like, wow, I'm doing this forever. It was great. So, I kept doing it every month. By the time I got done out to a year with the liver gallbladder part of it, the stones you want to make sure after the first time, for the week beforehand, you either drink a 32 ounce, you sip 32 ounces of apple cider vinegar, or there's in the protocol that I have, there's a way you can do apple cider vinegar, or I do apple juice, or you can do malic acid. I just do 32 ounces apple juice. I don't mean apple cider vinegar, but there's an apple cider you can use with 32 ounces of water, or malic acid, or you can do the apple cider or apple juice rather. So I do apple juice because that makes the stones clay-like and malleable. And then I would do every 4th month or once a season, I would do a 4-day saltwater cleanse. I do the liver gallbladder cleanse, and then the second, third, and 4th day, I do the saltwater cleanse. And I wound up losing 20 pounds on my first cleanse too, because you get all that junk that's hardened in your gut that's been there. And a lot of people that suffer from candida, it's the growth material for it. It's the humus, if you will, that they put their roots in to grow through and a lot of people with multiple sclerosis, it gets into the cerebral spinal fluid, the candida, and it conducts the toxins from your gut into your cerebral spinal fluid. That's why it's jumping all over the brain, because depending on what part of your brain where the toxin goes, whatever you're using. So if you're using motor skills that day, the next day you're going to see Parkinson's-like symptoms. If you're using memory and, that kind of thing, the next day you're going to see things like dementia and Alzheimer's. So it can also help a lot with that and in dealing with that situation. So as I got out a year, the stones actually got golf ball size. And I had a lot of allergies. Flu, when you get allergy season, I suffer pretty bad. I don't have that anymore. It got rid of all of those. The lady I studied in natural medicine in Sri Lanka, she never had actually had a menstruation, nor had hot flashes, nor menopause, even though she was 97 and had 13 kids. Because she, if you keep the body clean, like a lot of Olympic stars, they stop mincing, because if you're getting good exercise, you're pumping your lymphatic fluid by exercises and stretching every day, you're circulating the blood, you're getting the toxins, you're eating well, you're getting out, you're getting the sun, all of those things, then you don't need to have that. It's a way for women to get toxins out of the body. But, in Sri Lanka, a lot of people don't, because they eat healthy and they do all those other things. And, another thing is important, because my martial arts does, but you have to have some type of exercise on a regular basis to pump the lymphatic system, because unlike your cardio system, your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. The pump is your muscle. So, people say terrible things about yoga, it's satanic and all that. It's where you focus on what you do, not what you do. So, animals, you see them doing yoga before they walk. You see your dog doing upward dog, downward dog, doing, different leg stretches and all kinds of things, because the stretching is what's pumping the lymphatic fluid. If you don't pump it, you can wind up getting lymphoma and other situations. So keeping good exercise and a good diet, and then doing the cleansing is so important. And then with Morgellons, it's the saltwater cleanse is removing the debris and all the material that they're using in the gut to grow. They create little golf ball-like things that when they explode, looks like a broken puffball mushroom. So another thing I do to deal with that situation is I take a mud mix. Now, what that mud mix is, it's real simple, but it's diatomaceous earth, a quarter teaspoon of that, a quarter teaspoon of zeolite, and a tablespoon of activated charcoal, and a tablespoon of bentonite clay, what they call Aztec clay. And then I stir it up till it's kind of homogeneous in the cup. And then I add warm distilled water so it dissolves better. And I drink 3 glasses of that when I'm suffering like I am right now. That helps to destroy and shred them in your gut and get them out. And then I just make sure whether I'm doing the protocol that Jim Humble has, you want to make sure you're drinking lots of water with the mud mix too, so that you're getting them out. So I make sure I get, for me, I drink distilled water. People say you lose your minerals that way, but the only minerals your body can use are those that are chelated, which means they're bonded to an amino acid. So that means a mineral that's been uptaken by a plant and bonded to an amino acid. If you take raw minerals, like if you in a lot of flakes, like corn flakes or something, you powder it up in a mortar and pestle, run a magnet over it, get iron filings out. Your body can't use iron as an iron filing or licking a nail. You're not going to get iron that way that your body can use. If you take a chelate with amino acid, it binds to the cell immediately. So when you take distilled water, it actually will, through reverse osmosis, leach out the minerals that are not chelated, which are actually toxins. So it actually helps to detoxify the body too. So I get my body weight in ounces of water a day. And then for the topical outbreak, there's a essential oil mix that my wife came up with. She's very gifted at things that she uses that for where the fibers and things come out, which is extremely itching and stings in the sun and it burns like fire. And so it really is about the only thing that makes me able to stand. The whole left side of my head right now, my ear and my side of my face is half again as big on the left side than the right. So it makes it able so I could even talk right now. Otherwise, the pain would be too much. So I do the 15 drops of the following, which is melissa oil, eucalyptus oil, oregano oil, tea tree oil, and then 10 drops of rosemary oil, pine needle oil, sage oil or clary oil, juniper berry oil, and then lavender to help calm it. And then I use 2 to 4 tablespoons, depending on your skin sensitivity. For me, I use 3 and blend it. And then I rub that oil on. And then I also put the IV with it after then an ER and then a Mectin that I take the apple flavored one. And I take about half an inch. I do this 3 times a day internally. And then I take a few fingers full and rub it over the oiled areas where I have topical outbreaks. And that keeps it from drying out. And, when it dries, it cracks, it stings, it burns. It's really bad. So that, and then the last thing I'm working on, a student of mine is building, if you can get an EMP device, he's building a doorway with an EMP device in the doorway and you just walk through it. There was a guy that sold one down in New Mexico, or you could go down and get treated, but they didn't want us not to suffer. So they killed him and threatened his family and took all of their blueprints and his hardware and everything. So that's no longer available, unfortunately. So, a broad-scaled EMP, both negative and positive polarity, will shut down the nano stuff. I have an old 83 Honda Civic I built, and I have done where I've got the car running and then turned it off and put a screwdriver in the number 1 spark plug and just took my shoes off and, took the spark from the spark plug against the back of my hand. So if my hand closes, it's not on the screwdriver. So I jerk away from it. That did work, but it's a little drastic, I realize, for most people. I'm with martial arts for 44 years. I'm used to a little bit drastic. I don't recommend that for everybody. So along that line, there's a guy named Tony who has a nano triangle device that you can buy. It's on Herbs Beads Plus from Canada. You can buy it. Mine are too stringent. They're too crazy it didn't work for me, but he will show you. You can go on his YouTube and see how to build Nano Triangle. Just go on Herb Speeds Plus. He shows you how to build it, or you can buy it from him. A lot of people that works for them. Mine are too high. Another thing that I know, since they're magnesium based, and is not to cut magnesium supplementation out of your body. And for mine are also copper affects them. So I don't take copper in my diet. I try to eliminate that to a fair degree so it doesn't get so horrendous. Additionally, for the jab, those the S protein type guys, the pine needle oil has been by the American Frontline Doctors. This is Dr. Penny, who's amazing. You've had Dr. Northrup on your show, Nicholas. She's spoken to this as well as Dr. McCullough. There's a total of 25, I think it's more than that now, doctors that talk about how the curcumin that's in the pine needles destroys those types of proteins. So it's very, very powerful and viable. It's part of the reason why it's in the essential oil mix for the Morgellons that I use, is because it does destroy those proteins, which is extremely important and part of the whole program as well. And so I'll share my screen and show a few things here.
Let me just allow you to do that, Gene.
Okay.
That's it. I've activated it for you.
So this is the stuff I was saying that, you can just buy it at a pet store, or especially a horse store. This is the paste I use here, topical solution. You can see it there. So that's one of the things. And then if I go back up, here's the stuff on, you can get it from, let's see, this is on keto diet. That is a diet. They like starches and sugar. So you want a keto diet, the nanotech and all that, love that type of a quick energy diet. You want to go on a keto diet, it's better. And then also don't use hydrogen peroxide in a mister or internally. It feeds them. So if you're using that, it's good against the stuff in the jab, but for Morgellons, it makes it go crazy. So I think this is still there. Let me see if this pulls up. Hold on.
And spiders with human faces.
Okay, so just to show people, this is a remote viewer. This gentleman did this video on the Morgellons. This is actually what they look like, that are feeding off your neural energy at third and fourth density, and they go from third to fourth. And so if you go, he has a lot of really, really good information about it in this video, and he talks about it. Really excellent information.
So you're saying that that on the right-hand side with the red are so small and it goes inside our bodies. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So they're real creatures that they're putting in our bodies.
Yeah, they're AI. They're artificial intelligence. They're actual creatures. Absolutely.
But do they have consciousness?
Yes.
Wow.
Artificial intelligence. They're conscious. They're artificially intelligent.
Good morning in Prague.
Right.
So,
right. Wow. And how are they created?
they're created in the lab. They grow them. I had a video, I don't know if I can find it really quick, that shows that too as well. So this is, he's talking about let me freeze my screen, about the black goo, which I was saying the one lady, when she did this tart cherry, had that come out, black goo, talking about the black goo. This is Harold Kraut's Bella and black programmable matter. So that's another important thing to realize. And then additionally, I think this one shows the nanotech actually growing. Let me see. I think it is. Hold on. Let me page through here if this is the one I'm. No, this is the. other one. This is on the triangle. So let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. It's Rice University had a nanotechnology video. Oh, there, I found it. Wow, just with that. Rice University and nanotechnology.
Over the age of 50, she.
So they grow it using a Tesla environment, like 5G can do the same thing. So let me pull this down and this over, and I'll share this. This is at Rice University. Shows you how they actually can grow the fibers. They'll grow in your body the same way as they grow here. So nanotubules. They call it Teslaphoresis. Look at them grow. And they grow through your blood. This is stuff they have in the jab, the nanodust. It'll link together. It'll grow.
This assembly of materials. And what we did was, because we're at Rice, we had plenty of nanotubes around. So we decided to use nanotubes. And what we discovered was that these nanotubes can actually string together and form wires by themselves under this electric field. This fundamental idea that you can have, instead of, when you normally build.
So interesting, the symbol for Nano University, square within the square and the owls.
That you can have, instead of, when you normally build circuits and things like that, you have to have physical contact. Now we're talking about building circuits without actually touching them.
In other words, in your body.
Dispersing this. Power on. And up. I realized that a Tesla coil could actually do this if you designed it in a way to create a very strong force field in front of it. And so that was the engineering aspect of it. And then once I designed the machine, then all sorts of discoveries started. That was a good one.
Teslaphoresis is one of those things. It's a project that they're just into different industries.
Things to build themselves. Nanotechnology, that self-assembly is very big. That is, if
so you can see it can actually fly. It builds itself. 5G can do the same thing. It'll build, it'll wire itself, wire you. I mean, it is really, a artificial intelligence in the full sense of the word. And then it, as the person in Russia found out, it actually wires us up to the dark web. You can then see your biorhythms, where you're at, your brain scans, all kinds of things.
Wow. It's a very, very overwhelming things that, I mean, the normal people don't even, they couldn't comprehend this. This is huge. This is, so you're saying that all the ingredients that you explained earlier would help to get rid of all of this.
Yeah. So here's the one I use, the mud mix I use. And what you use is your own responsibility. But, this is what I've been doing for, I don't know, I've lost many, 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 many years when I even just food poisoning. This really helps a lot. There was a magician in France back in the 1800s. He would take 2 tablespoons of activated charcoal and drink it. And then he would go on stage, and at the beginning of his performance, he would drink a glass of strychnine and do his 2-hour performance, because the charcoal would absorb it. He wouldn't die. So, I mean, charcoal is amazing what it can do, activated charcoal. It's what's in a lot of your filtration units is activated charcoal. It literally absorbs hundreds of times its own weight in toxins, keeps it out of your body. So when you take this, it goes through your body, scours your body here and here, then lines your body and helps your body to heal internally, kind of like an internal bandage, and then absorbs the toxins and pulls them out of the body. And then the essential oils are here, as you can see. 15 drops that, 10 drops that. We do 2 to 5 tablespoons now, because if you're so badly broken out as I am, it can really, really sting a lot. This is the cover of Jim Humble's book.
Right.
So that's the sodium, and then after that, when you have that, it's called sodium and then chloride instead of like sodium chloride. It's table salt, and we get a certain kind that's 80%, and then we powder it in a mortar pestle and fill a quarter of a number 4 gel cap. I'm taking those every half hour, and on the hour, I'm taking his Protocol 1000 with this.
Right. Well, Gene, I'll be honest, I want to leave this video, just around this topic, so that it would make it easy and simple for people and the viewers and everyone that wants to know how to detox their body. And obviously they have to do their own research as well. But I want to make it simple for them, where they can just watch this video for this purpose only. So I want to keep it around this topic. Is there anything else that you can share with us regarding this topic?
Yeah. I remember, again, the glutathione, and then also the jab, the zinc. Viruses use one of 4 amino acids, enzymes, to invert their genetic code into your cell nucleus, so that your cell nucleus will become a factory for the virus parts that then assemble in the cell. And usually it causes, once the cell's full, to burst and assemble in your body. Often though, like AIDS takes the cell wall itself as part of its own outer liner. And so to do that, they have to use an enzyme to reverse transcriptase in the case of AIDS, which uses reverse transcriptase. That's why it's called a retrovirus. It's the first virus in humans to use reverse transcriptase. That's why you look at the early pioneers in researching AIDS were people who worked with animals, veterinarians primarily, because you didn't have viruses in humans that use reverse transcriptase before AIDS. So it's called a retrovirus from reverse transcriptase. And so if you inhibit that, which zinc does for the jab type virus, it inhibits that. So another important thing is get large amounts of zinc.
Right. Well, Gene, is there anything else?
The last thing I would say is that it's important to not get, negative emotions. Part what caused me to get an outbreak is I got upset about something fairly heavily. And that allows the nanotech feeds off of negative energy, loosh, like all dark things, evil things. So you want to keep your spirits high. You want to be in, prayer often, listening to music at 432 hertz, which actually resonates the cell structure and helps it to heal, as opposed to regular 440, which actually shows, if you look at cymatics, it decomposes the DNA itself. So that, and then laughing helps a lot. I mean, getting a good laugh, being with people that are uplifting and being, a happy person overall, and staying away from negative things. So for me is, studying a little scripture every day, reading the Bible, doing prayer, to Jesus Christ. For me, that's my Lord and Savior. Whatever you believe in, to be, really solid and really serious in your spiritual practices to the one God of all creation. That's the last thing I would say that is extremely important in this, with the jab especially, but also with Morgellons or those type things.
Absolutely. To find peace, whatever gives you peace, positivity, and, happiness and love, because
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. And get out in nature. Morgellons doesn't like the sunlight either. It's odd, that it seems whatever the case, whether it's AI or anything else, they like the cover of dark. They proliferate in the dark, and they don't like the light. If you bring the true light, the stars and the sun is created by the God of all creation. I don't like anything that's created by God of all creation.
I tell you what, Gene, that's the reason why they want to lock us up.
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
because
And
they
that's
want to
also
keep
why-
us. Sorry, please.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say they want to lock us up to keep us out of the nature, negative, or keep on wearing these silly things around our faces, cover our faces. And there's, we breathe back CO2. There's no sunlight. There's no nature. We're indoors. And, and it promotes and encourages all of these toxins to do the work of, of the bad guys.
Yeah. And not only that, if you're not around good people and all of that, then, it promotes it too, that you're just all this darkness and everything. But if you're around good people, they don't want you closer than 6 feet because you're sharing your energy, literally. Your heart field of the electromagnetic field of your heart goes out 6 feet. So you're not sharing the energy of your heart. So you're just, all the bad vibes and stuff go further out. They're lower frequencies. The higher frequencies don't go out as far. They only go 6 feet. So they don't want you sharing the good stuff. They want you sharing the bad stuff. That's another reason they say keep 6 feet away.
Right. We've got 6 feet. We've got 6 people and 6 inches swab. 666. It's like a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. And if you look at the throwaway masks, inside them, you can get an app for a phone where you can see the magnification from a phone is enough with the app that you get, a little device you put to your phone. You can see the fibers in those masks too.
Right. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, Gene, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I hope that this is very helpful for the viewers. They can research this. They have to do their own research and make their own decision. You're just sharing something that you do. Just once again, I would like to advise people that Gene is not a doctor. This is, just something that you're sharing. And I'm saying this to cover for legal reasons. Is there anything that you'd like to say, Gene, before we finish?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Dr. Northrup and Dr. Tenpenny, and Dr. McCullough, and all the wonderful doctors that are telling the truth about the jab. God bless you. And I'm really impressed. Keep up the good work and the good fight. And I really appreciate all you do.
That's very sweet, Gene. Thank you very, very much for your time. And we'll speak very soon. God bless you.
God bless you, Nicholas. Thank you.